The Last of Us executive producer Carolyn Strauss made some of the most heinous comments I've seen in a long while. And these are truly heinous comments, some of the most disgusting, evil things you can possibly say. Before we get into this, I'd like to ask you please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell for notifications. With that out of the way, let's get into this here. I wrote this article up on thatparkplace.com. The Last of Us executive producer and Planned Parenthood chairman Carolyn Strauss says she refuses to shoot in states that want to protect children from evil, bad people. Indeed, this is what she said. And it was during an appearance at the Power Women Summit earlier this month. She was asked by Producers Guild of America CEO Susan Sprung, in a post-Roe world, have you changed the way you think about where you are producing and what kind of things you produce? Let's listen to what she actually had to say here. Let's take a listen.
Post-Roe world, have you changed the way you think about where you're producing? What kinds of things you produce?
Well, I think about it all the time. I'm chairman of Planned Parenthood Los Angeles board. So
Just listen to all these people clapping for this stuff. It's absolutely disgusting. We know exactly what that organization does, and you have people cheering for it. I mean, this is the sad state of our society. We shouldn't have people cheering this stuff. They should be booed off the stage and shunned from society. But let's continue listening to what Carolyn Strauss has to say here.
This is front and center for me. But also as a producer and someone who's in charge of a crew, you have to think about the health and safety of your crew, and reproductive health care is essential for women's health and safety. And
It really is, and that's why you should not be. That's why you should be protecting these children, because you don't want the loss of the child to significantly impact the mother. And indeed, as we've seen, it significantly does indeed impact them on a number of levels, mental and emotional, being two of the ones that come to the forefront of my mind. Not to mention their physical health as well.
And so where we choose to shoot, it's not just about bringing money, but it's, spending money in Georgia or wherever. It's about, can you take care of your crew? And, recently we had a couple of, on a show that's upcoming, things where I'm like, I'm not going to shoot there. I won't shoot in those states,
Good for you.
So there you have it. She says she will not shoot in states that are actually trying to protect children. Absolutely heinous and evil. There is no bones about this. We can go into the science. I know that people are going to try and, who are all about the science, will try and deny what we're saying here. But life begins at conception. And the science is very clear. We have Keith L. Moore in his book, Essential of Human Embryology. Human development begins after the union of male and female gametes or germ cells during a process known as fertilization. Conception. Fertilization is a sequence of events that begins with the contact of a sperm with a secondary, I don't know what does it say, oocyte, ovum, and ends with the fusion of their pronuclei. And the mingling of their chromosomes to form a new cell. This fertilized ovum, known as a zygote, is a large diploid cell that is the beginning or primordium of a human being. So human life begins at conception. We have Ronan R. O'Rahilly and Fabiola Mueller writing in Human Embryology and Teratology, second edition. Although life is a continuous process, fertilization is a critical landmark because under ordinary circumstances, a new genetically distinct human organism is thereby formed. Life begins at conception. The combination of 23 chromosomes present in each pronunculus results in 46 chromosomes in the zygote. Thus, the diploid number is restored and the embryonic genome is formed. The embryo now consists as a genetic unity. Very clear that what the science is. Life begins at conception. And this lines up with what the Catechism of the Catholic Church teaches. If you don't know, I am a practicing Catholic, and this is one of the most important issues, I think the most important issue of our time. And this is, we'll find out why right here. The Catechism of the Catholic Church is very clear on this. Obviously, first it says, from the first moment of his existence, a human being must be recognized as having the rights of a person, among which is the inviolable right of every innocent being to life. Since the first century, the church has affirmed the moral evil of every procured abortion. This teaching has not changed and remains unchangeable. Direct abortion, that is to say, abortion will either as an end or a means, is gravely contrary to the moral law. Indeed, it is. The Catechism further adds, you shall not kill the embryo by abortion and shall not cause the newborn to perish. God, the Lord of life, has entrusted to men the noble mission of safeguarding life, and men must carry it out in a manner worthy of themselves. Life must be protected with the utmost care from the moment of conception. Abortion and infanticide are abominable crimes. Indeed, they are. And this is exactly what Carolyn Strauss is trying to promote. In fact, she is boycotting states that are trying to stop these abominable crimes. Shows you where she stands, right, and what her moral compass is. The Catechism also adds the inalienable right to life of every innocent human individual is a constitutive element of a civil society and its legislation. The inalienable rights, wow, can I say that? Of the person must be recognized and respected by civil society and the political authority. These human rights depend neither on single individuals nor on parents, nor do they represent a concession made by society and the state. They belong to human nature and are inherent in the person by virtue of the creative act from which the person took his origin. Among such fundamental rights, one should mention in this regard every human being's right to life and physical integrity from the moment of conception until death. That is true. We all have human rights and we all have the right to life no matter what. The state doesn't grant it. It is given to us by nature and is inherent in the person by virtue of the creative act. Every single person has this right to life. Carolyn Strauss clearly trying to deny that to millions of people. Disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. This, I think, is really important right here. The moment a positive law deprives a category of human beings of the protection which civil legislation ought to accord them, the state is denying the equality of all before the law. When the state does not place its power at the service of the rights of each citizen, and in particular of the more vulnerable, the very foundations of a state based on law are undermined. As a consequence of the respect and protection which must be ensured for the unborn child from the moment of conception, the law must provide appropriate penal sanctions for every deliberate violation of the child's rights. So, yes, the people that are committing these absolutely awful, heinous acts should be punished appropriately. But the beginning portion of this quote here, I think, is really key. And it shows why this is such an important issue. Because if it is not an important issue, then we see it how it kind of spreads throughout societies, undermining all of the other laws. If you cannot respect a human individual's right to life, how can you expect in the unborn state? How can you expect to respect that life at any other stage in their life? How can that law actually be applied equally to everyone? Well, it's not. And as it says here, it undermines the fabric of society, which is the law that has been built up in place to protect this right to life of people. And if the law isn't doing that, well, then the law doesn't really have any credibility. And you can see how our state has devolved into this. I mean, just look around. People don't have any respect for other people's lives anymore. They don't respect anyone else. There's so many other things going on. I mean, it's just, and this is fundamental to it. And it's part of the downfall of our society is the fact that we do not respect the fundamental right to life. And when people like Carolyn Strauss are getting applauded for it, they're getting applauded for disrespecting the right to life, for ignoring it, for undermining it, and for trying to snuff it out. It's sick. It's disgusting. We must reject these people. We must shun them. We must kick them out of our society if we want to be civilized again. A person like that has no right to be living with us in a civil society. It's absolutely barbaric, heinous, and ultimately evil.